Welcome back to Life in Pixels. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm going to be continuing my series on reimagining all of the lots from the Sims Bustin Out with Shiny Things Lab. First off, I want to apologize that the UI is cut off throughout this video. I had been recording something else with my OBS software before recording this video, and I just did not think to change the settings back. So that is why everything is zoomed in a little bit, but none of the actual build is cut off. So I hope you don't mind too much. This definitely won't happen again in the future because I will be definitely paying attention to that moving forward. So for those of you who have never played The Sims Bustin' Out, or it's just been a really long time, because I know for me it's probably been close to 20 years since I played this game, I'm going to give you a little bit of background. So Shiny Things Lab is one of the levels that you would visit if you were in the scientist career or the military career. I'm not sure if any other careers, but I know those two for sure. And basically it was a science lab where a couple of Sims by the name of Makino and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, and Vaughn lived and worked. And just like with any of the other builds that I've done that kind of are not your traditional residential build, but were more community lots, I have turned this into an actual community lot in The Sims 4. So this is going to be a library. It meets all of the requirements for a library. I tested out a few different types of lots that this could be, and I found that library kind of worked the best. So Sims do actually show up. They do interact with items in here from when I play tested it. There are a couple of the items like the rocket ship and some of the science items that I didn't really notice them interacting with too much autonomously when I played, but you can definitely direct your own sim to play with those objects and they work just fine. I made sure that you don't have to be like in the scientist career to use any of the objects, because there's a couple that come from the get to work pack that definitely you encounter when you're playing through the scientist career, and that you have to actually be a scientist to play with. But there's a lot of objects where you don't have to be a scientist to actually use them. So I made sure to include those items. So this is a really fun place for your sim to come build their rocket skill, their logic skill, and I put the robotic station from Discover University. So that's just another way that you can build your robotics without your sim necessarily being a university student or traveling to the university campus. So I ended up really liking this at first when I built it. I mean, I really liked the way it looked, but I didn't think that I would personally use it in my gameplay that often. But I think that I'm actually going to put it probably in basically every save file that I play with, because it's a really good spot for your Sims to come build those logic and rocket science skills. Because I mean, I don't know about y'all, but some of these items that the Sims team makes are just so huge. Like next to the rocket ship pad, there's the microscope, and your Sims can like actually analyze plant samples and get these really cool looking slides that they can use for artwork if they use that microscope. But honestly, I have not used that microscope much, and I've been playing The Sims 4 since it first came out, and I believe that object came in base game, and I rarely ever use it because who has room for this gigantic writable microscope, you know, in your regular house? And if you have get to work, in order to get to the science lab in that pack, you have to actually be in the scientist career. And just because you're in the scientist career, like if your sim isn't in the scientist career, they still might be interested in science as a hobby. So I don't know. Like I said, I don't use that object much because it never really made sense. But now I have a place where it does make sense. Just like with the observatory, I put one of those outside, and again, those are really big. I wish we could get a regular telescope that I could put on my Sim's porch and actually have it make sense, but you can come here and you can use it. So yeah, it was really fun to use these gigantic objects that I've never really used before, and a more fun way for your Sims to build their logic skill instead of just playing chess over and over and over. If I was a sim, I would probably get so sick and tired of having to play chess over and over and over again just to build my logic skill. So yeah, a pretty fun place to come. I got to use a lot of items that I normally don't use. I used a lot of things from, like I said, Get to Work, from Strangerville, and from Get Famous. Get Famous actually had a lot of stuff from, I guess, I'm being like movie props and stuff. So that was really fun, and I did get to use those sleeping pods from Get Famous because, again, not one of those typical items that I put in my Sims homes, but how could I pass up the opportunity to use a sleep pod in a build? And the sleep pods were actually in the original Bustin' Out version of this lot, and whenever I've done these builds before where I've converted it into an actual functional community lot instead of a residential lot, I usually take the beds out because they don't make sense. But for this build, I decided to leave them in and just put some like medical and science equipment in there to make it look like you're doing research or something. So that was pretty cool. And so if your Sims need to, you know, take a nap while they're building the rocket ship, then they can go ahead and do that while they're here. And they can also eat while they're here too if they get hungry, because I did include a little break room looking area. In the original version of this build, it was a full-on kitchen, but I went ahead and converted it into a break room because I thought that made sense for being a lab that, you know, if we pretend that people work here, then they can have a break room. So yeah, your Sims can have a snack, have a nap, so they can just build their science and logic skills to their heart's content without having to leave too frequently. As you can see, I had built this little area on top of the lab, like this glass rectangle, and that is because the rocket ship pad is underneath there. And the main reason I included a rocket inside is in the original Bustin' Out, one of your main goals from this lot was to, there was like this giant Tesla coil in the middle, and your main goal was to get enough power in that Tesla coil to launch something called rocket gnomes. And we don't have a giant Tesla coil in this version of the game. There is in Parenthood, like with the school projects, your Sims can create like a Tesla coil from, I think it's the electricity project. And I did try to size one of those up and see how it looked, but it just did not look great sized up. Plus it wasn't functional. So I went ahead and just put a rocket in there, and since we don't have rocket gnomes, I just put a lot of gnomes outside, and so that's kind of a play off of the rocket gnomes. And I didn't want the spaceship to just bust straight through the ceiling because that wouldn't make too much sense. So I just built this like little area on top, and we can pretend that like it opens up when the rocket ship is ready to launch. So I thought that was a pretty cool workaround that, you know, works. And plus, again, when do you put a rocket pad in your backyard that often? And if you have city living, when like GeekCon comes around, they can build a rocket, but that doesn't last too long. When I did upload this to the gallery, the rocket is fully built. I had a sim come here and build it, so you can just dive right in and get ready to go in your rocket ship. But of course, if you wanted your sim to spend more time building their rocket science skill and you wanted them to build the rocket from scratch, all you'd have to do is go into the build catalog and delete the rocket ship pad that's there and then replace it with a new one, and so they can build it from scratch. But I wanted to go ahead and have it done in case you wanted to just get right to it. And then out here, I put the wormhole generator, so your Sims should be able to visit Sixum anytime they want by going through the wormhole generator. And then I also put a satellite dish out here that you can interact with, and you can contact aliens, so more aliens will show up on this lot if you do that. And then you can also like control the neighborhood and make them do like a dance party or like make everyone happy. I think there's one where you can make everyone have like a bladder failure, so that's a little touch of fun. And then I also end up putting the weather machine from Seasons out there too. That's also an item that I have never ever used, even though I've had Seasons since the day that it came out. but like, when would you just have a weather machine chilling in your Sims, you know, backyard or house or whatever? So I've actually never ever played with that item until I play tested it after I put it in this build. So this is just like the fun place to have all of your quirky little geeky sciencey Sims come and hang out and just have a really good time. So I think that's super fun, and I think the outside turned out really nice too. I built this in Oasis Springs. I thought about putting it in Strangerville, but I liked it here in Oasis Springs better because it's a little alien-esque in my opinion in Oasis Springs, and then Strangerville is, you know, they already have like that secret lab lot, so I didn't want to have two labs there. So I think it turned out really cute. We are about to be onto the screenshots in just a couple of moments, so I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what was your favorite lot from Bustin' Out, and I will talk to y'all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye!